Hello everyone, welcome to Basically Netta. I'm Netta, and in this video I'm going to talk about the update of the series that I wanted to start in 2024. I have now managed to read the first book of all 10 series, and here I'm here to explain to you where I am with them. So, here are basically my opinions and what I'm gonna do, if I'm going to continue or if I'm not going to continue. And in this video, I'm not gonna go into detail on what these books are about because I already have actual reviews for these ones. So feel free to go look and watch those. And yeah, I'm just gonna go very briefly into what I'm gonna do with them, if I'm gonna continue, if I'm not going to continue, what I rate them, things like that. Just because then it'll just be very long and I don't want to be editing a very long video. So here we go. The first book that I talked about in my series that I want to read for in 2024 video was the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb, the first book being Assassin Apprentice. I love this book. I love this series. I gave this book a 5-star. I have continued and read Royal Assassin, and I also love that one. And I gave that one a 5-star, so I will continue with the third one, and maybe I will continue reading whatever else is in that realm. So Robin Hobb has been a very surprising match for me, as she tends to write character-driven stories, yet she writes them very well. So it is really nice to read these books. I recommend everybody to actually just try one of them at least. So yeah, that was book number 1. Good to go. The second series that I mentioned was the Powder Mage series by Brian McClellan, and the first book of that series is Promise of Blood. I actually did enjoy this one, and I rated this one a 4-star rating because of the pacing, and it was very interesting, very fun to read. The magic system is very interesting. There's 2 different kinds of magic systems in this one. And yeah, I intend to continue with this as I enjoyed it. The third series that I mentioned was The Empire of Wolves by Richard Swan, the first book being The Justice of Kings. This one is, I'm very on the fence with this one because this is a character-driven book that I don't like the main character who is telling us this story, yet I like the magic system and I like the mystery of it. And what I heard from other booktubers is that the sorcery and the necromancy is more in the second book and perhaps in the third book. So I'm kind of debating on picking up the second book, or I shouldn't pick up the second book. I gave The Justice of Kings a 3-star rating. I might pick up the next one. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to read all the ones that, like, I finish all the series of the ones that I really liked, and then see if I want to pick the second book of The Empire of Wolves. Because I'm really on the fence on this. I am more leaning on like maybe picking it up in the spooky season, just because I've heard a lot of like that it's necromancy and darker. So we'll see. The fourth series I mentioned in that video, my earlier video, was the Raya Revelations by Michael J. Sullivan. The first book being the first 2 volumes of The Theft of Swords. So this one was originally published as an indie book. Like there's 6 books in this series as indie books. But when Orwell picked it up, they combined the books to be 3 books. So the first book, Theft of Sword, is volume 1 and volume 2. And I love this one. It was so much fun. It's high fantasy, it's soft magic, and there's like a buddy relationship that is very fun to follow, and it's very hilarious. So yeah, I gave this one a 5-star rating, and I intend to pick up the next one when I can. So yeah, and then the 5th series I mentioned in my original video was The Faithful and the Fallen by John Gwynne, the first book being Malice. So this is a high fantasy Norse mythology inspired book series, and just did not work for me. I gave it a 3-star rating. It's very slow, it's very character driven. It just didn't work for me. Yeah, it's also coming of age book, so I find that at this stage of my life, in my late 30s, I don't like the coming of age books anymore. It's just no longer interesting to me. So with that being said, this was an okay book. I just didn't vibe with it because of the way it's written, and just the characters are too young. I just couldn't I couldn't connect with them. And that's why I'm just not going to continue with this one. So the 6th series that I mentioned in my earlier video was the Lycansian trilogy by James S. Lincoln. I had the same issue with this one. The first book is The Shadow of What Was Lost, and I had the same issue with this one as I did with Malice. It's coming of age, and I just couldn't get into it. Also the writing wasn't very well done. That's why I'm not going to continue with this one. I give this one a 3-star as well. It's just not for me. And then the 7th series that I mentioned was Book of Usurper by Erin M. Evans, the first book being Empire of Exiles. And I give this one a 3-star rating as well. This was just the style of writing. I just didn't like the style of writing. She's just... Yeah. It was like talking about the history, and like it's a very important point in the story. Then she cuts it off before you get the point. You start listening to the point, but she cuts it off for the character to have like an emotional scene. and oh, how this person needed to have this scene, and then goes back to telling you that point, which totally takes away from the whole climax of like this important idea and this important thing that has to be said in the story. So that because of that, I just couldn't stand the writing. And it's just, I liked the mystery, I liked the magic system, I liked the what else? I just, the fact that it was his giving out history and those kind of things, and it's a made up history, it's not the real history, but I kind of liked it, and it just got overwhelmed by the way of writing of the author. So I'm not going to continue with it, and it's not only because of the fact that I didn't enjoy the writing, it's also because I probably won't be able to get the second book. It's not available to me on Libby, and my library doesn't have it, and I'm not gonna buy it. if I'm not gonna, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the series, so I'm not gonna continue with this one. Sorry. The 8th series that I mentioned in my original video was the Book of Babel by Josiah Bancroft, and the first book is Senlin Ascends. This was a joy to read. This was so much fun. There's just a little bit of pacing issue in it, but I quite enjoyed the story, and I gave it a 4-star rating. I intend to continue with it, and I can't wait to know what Thomas Senlin is going to do next. It was really good. It was just something that I think everyone should try reading this, because it's not just about Senlin trying to find his wife. It's about him learning about life and who he is and relationships and things like that. It was so good. And yeah, I'm gonna continue with this one. The 9th series that I talked about in my original video is The Age of Uprising by Richard S. Ford. This is the first book is Engines of Empire, and I give this one a 3-star rating. This is another coming of age story, and I also didn't like the writing style, and I'm not gonna continue with this. Also, my library and Libby doesn't have this one either, so it wouldn't make any sense for me to continue. And then the 10th book that I just finished, well, I just DNF'd. The series is the Kithamore series by Daniel Abraham, and the first book is Age of Ash, and I DNF'd it. I have a video about it, like why I DNF'd it, in my the Senlin Man review. I also mentioned this one, why I DNF'd it. I DNF'd it because I just couldn't get into it, and it was just, I don't like Daniel Abraham's writing. It just doesn't work. It's not very realistic. I couldn't get into it. It's a coming of age story, and I'm just over that. So I DNF'd it, and definitely not continuing with this one either. So in the end, just to get everybody into what happened with all 10, I'm going to continue with 4 of those series that I started. 1 series is a maybe, and then I'm DNFing 5 series. Like not continuing with 5 series. And yeah, that's the update basically. Those were the ones that I'm going to continue, I'm not going to continue, and yeah, maybe I'll give you guys an update again, another end of another quarter, as I tend to, I just updated you guys at the end of the first quarter, so maybe I'll update you guys in the second quarter, at the end of the second quarter. And yeah, let me know down below if you have read any of these books. Did you like them? Do you want to pick them up? Let's have a chat in the comments. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my content, please press the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.